All right, you guys, can you hear me? Is it working? Testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, how many local guys do we have here from Orlando? In the back? Okay, good. I don't want to share too many secrets because I'm not far from Orlando. How many of you guys have seen Eustace Roofing or videos from Eustace Roofing? Okay, cool, awesome. So we do a lot of videos. It's been really big for our company, but I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what started it, how we got to where we are. I took over the roofing company about 12 years ago. We had about 8 employees. Now we have 140 plus employees. We're going to do about 30 million this year. So we do a lot of work, but we have a lot of really good people. So I'm going to talk to you how we retain them, how we get those people, and the struggle that we had before to do that. So to start out, I worked at NASCAR for 10 years, and I learned so much from NASCAR. If you want to talk about a sport that has great branding, great marketing, great teamwork, it's NASCAR. One of the things about NASCAR is I didn't realize all this stuff that I was learning until I got into the roofing industry. And usually in NASCAR, when you get out of it and you get into business, you usually do really well because you have that competition side of it. You have all the branding that you learned, and so that's how it started us. So in the beginning, I worked for 2 crew chiefs in NASCAR. One of them, his name was Donnie. He's probably one of the most brilliant guys I've ever met. And another guy, his name was Mike Fritz. And he was brilliant, but not as smart as Donnie. But what I noticed is nobody wanted to work for Donnie. He was the smartest crew chief I've ever seen, but nobody wanted to work for him because he wasn't a people person. He was smarter, but he didn't run as good. Now, Mike Fritz, they ran a lot better because he was personable. Everybody wanted to work for Mike. So he had 5 talented guys on his team, and they ended up doing better because of that, as a team. So I realized that, and I got that into roofing. So when I started with the 8 employees, we had the customers, we just didn't have the employees. And a lot of us struggle with that. So I had to find different ways to find employees, and one of them, everybody makes fun of me this, but I joined the YMCA soccer team. If you want to find employees, that was, at the beginning, an exceptional place to find employees. You could tell who showed up to practice, whose heart was in it, who had the desire, and then I would just onboard those people. Hey, I can give you a career, and that's how I started to get kind of where we're at today. So along the way, we learned also that it wasn't always about your marketing team and all that. It was about the guys putting on the roof. I kind of started backwards from that area. So I loved roofing, and I went to a seminar with Hunter Ballou, and I learned more about culture. And if you can see on these, we always do these videos to begin with so that people understand it's about the people. But we started with the roofers. And so I built up 140 roofers at the beginning, or towards the end, and then I kind of suffered on the marketing and the sales side, so then we had to go after that angle. So we have a different approach to it. So the way that we do it is we have all kinds of stuff that we do together. So we have team building, we have Christmas parties. One of the differences about us, if you go to our Christmas party, there's 100 roofers there. Not just your marketing team, not just your sales team. You got to be cautious on that because when you ask them to bring their family, the first year we did that, you don't realize what they mean in family. Like even in the Spanish culture, like they bring everybody. So we set up for like 200 people. We had 350 people. So we learned. But what that created was an environment where we could connect to the wife. We could connect to the daughter, the family. The whole family was involved. If you want a good employee, you get to the wife and you got a good employee because she'll make sure he's at work every day. If she believes in what he's doing, she'll make sure he's there every day. So that's one of the things that we always see. If they've got a good partner in the relationship and you can kind of get to the wife and get them to see that this is a team building process, that you care about her husband, they'll be at work every Monday. So that was one of our first approach when we were trying to look for employees. This is one of our Christmas parties right here when we first started it. We bring in Santa Claus. We do family pictures. One of my favorite things is to get in a work truck and there's a picture on the dash of the family that was at our Christmas party. So that shows me we're reaching the whole family. The other thing is we believe these guys that put the roofs on are superstars. I mean, if you've ever put a roof on and you do that day in and day out, you've got to be an athlete. There's no way you can do it. It's just incredibly hard. So we want the family to realize that. So what we do is all the kids have branded backpacks, hats. It all goes to the family, not just the employee. And so they represent, hey, that's my dad. I'm proud of him. He's a roofer. He works for Eustace Roofing. So we've managed to reach that. These are some of the pictures of team events. We do Savage races, charity events. This is our office team. Like I said in the beginning, I neglected the office part. And now we do a lot of that, and we have a huge office staff. We have 15 girls in the office. But there's a family member right here. This is the husband of one of the office staff. He comes to all the events. So everybody's involved. So these are areas that we are just excelling and getting people involved in. They love what they do. I always tell our employees we're saving homeowners from bad roofers. So you've got to have something going where they understand what they're doing. If they don't understand it, they're not going to buy into it. So again, I think Patrick Carr was at one with me, the Savage Race. That was a way to connect with some of the marketing guys in our business, the office staff, and then the roofers. So my biggest goal was to make sure that I beat the roofers. I'm not just a guy behind a keyboard. I'm going to race you. I'm going to beat you. You're going to see that I'm driven just as much as you are, and I want you to be able to respect me like I respect you. So these are some of the pictures from the Savage Race we did this year. We do this every year. But you can see the smiles, the families. So we're building a culture. Now we bring this to our YouTube, to our Facebook, to our social media. One of the things that people forget about when you're running videos, if you're going to do videos in your community, is a lot of people don't care about flashing. They don't really care. They don't really recognize what you're talking about. But if you can talk about your people, they're going to recognize that. Your team members, because most of your customers are employees also. So if you talk about how great your people are, they're going to kind of recognize that, and they're going to create trust there, and you're going to have customers. So one of the first challenges we had is when we hit 10 million, it was just kind of a struggle. And we were having a harder time finding employees and people, so we started doing more and more videos. But we always talk about the employees in the videos. And we show pictures like this on social media every week. Facebook, anything we can find. We got Instagram's real big right now, so we'll show pictures of our team. But that was a way for us to connect to the homeowner. But what we're doing is we're getting two things at once. This is a fishing trip. We took 120 roofers fishing. You want to talk about some guys that are going to be with you the rest of your life? Take them fishing, especially the roofers. They feel appreciated. This was one of my greatest trips. We're going to do this every year, but this was a chance for the sales team, some of the marketing team, some of the people in the office to spend time with the guys putting the roofs on, and we all connect. If you're a sales guy, you want to know who you're selling for. And so a lot of the things with our sales guys, we like them to be there at 7 in the morning to be there with all of us. So we're one team. We're probably one of the only companies that we're all W-2 employees. I forgot to tell you that at the beginning. We don't subcontract any workout. Everybody works in-house. When you come to our company at 7 in the morning, it's like a small city. We're all there at the same time. We all leave from the same location every morning. And then we have our meetings and we go from there and we disperse from there. But we're all one team, just like NASCAR. When we go to the job site, it looks like a NASCAR team shows up. We've got everybody in hats, branded. They've got the shirts. We've got sprinters that have our logos on it. We're definitely different when we show up at the job site. And our guys, they're proud of that. They recognize there's a brand. I always put this like, if you had an NBA team and you had no name on the jersey, who are you really playing for? Are you really going to win? Are you going to be a team if you don't even have a brand? So we put that brand on everything, all the way from the roofers. This is some company events where we even bring in some of our head office staff, and we get together all the time. This weekend, we rented the whole bowling alley out, so we're going to do bowling this weekend. But we spend a lot of time together as a team. This is some of our guys. But so a lot of people forget about the roofers. And really, they're the number one thing. They're putting the roof on, and they just get forgot about. And for us, that's our number one concern, is the roofers. So now we have roofers coming in every day. Every morning there'll be 20 guys looking for a job. And that's something that we didn't have before. We never even imagined that was possible. But when they always come and ask for a job, the first thing my office staff will always tell them, you have to come in at 7 a.m. in the morning. Does anybody know why I want them there at 7 in the morning? There's two reasons. Anybody got an idea? One, they really want a job, they'll come in at 7 a.m. But two, I want everybody that works for me to see that there's people out there looking for work. If they can see that, they recognize that they're replaceable. They got to do a good job. If they don't, we got replacements. In NASCAR, they taught us that. Where the guys would come in for jobs, it was all glass and you could see from the shop. I knew every day there was guys coming in there looking for work, and I knew that my job was on the line. So I had to be just perfect, or they would get rid of you. They don't play around with that. So there's one thing that we just don't deal with at Eustace Roofing is bad workmanship. It just doesn't fly. Everything else we can get along, we can work it out, but bad workmanship, it doesn't work. Here's some charity. Show them. So one of the things we've learned about the employees too, I'm going to show them Steven's video. We do a lot of videos with the employees. And I started too from the ground, had to clean the ground, work my way all the way up. So what we do is we recognize those guys. So we have a lot of roofers that are really good at what they do, but we want to move them up so that you can see if you're a roofer, there's growth within our company. You're not always going to put the roof on. And go ahead, this is Steven. He started from the ground up.
Hi guys, my name is Steven Martinez. I'm working in project manager since 2017. Over here it's not the same money, not the same works I have right now in the United States. So when I'm moving over here, I try to be progress in my life, to start again with nothing, with no apartment, anything. In 2018, I arrived to Eustace Roofing like a single worker. Jason told me, be grateful. You are gonna be big in that company. So right now I'm 2022. Jason put me on project manager. I'm really appreciate with the Eustace Roofing family for bringing me that opportunity. Right now I'm father for 3 children. In the same year I have my first house. Thank you for the Eustace Roofing company. So I'm very happy for the opportunity Jason bring me to me for the first day. I'm part of the Eustace Roofing because I'm starting from the bottom. I know what happened step by step in the roofs. For the people outside, let me tell you something, Eustace Roofing is amazing. Everybody on that company make a great job, great work. So start for the project manager, Jason, the guys outside. That's the best company. Everything we do over here, I do with love.
All right, so that's Steven. We probably have 30 Stevens that work for us that are just like Steven. They're unique. Back in the day, my dad would always tell me, if they're not putting a shingle down, there's no room for them. And it's not necessarily true. You can take a guy like Steven, super successful on the roof. It was hard to take him off the roof because that team was amazing with him. But what we found is if we take him off the team, that team will grow without him. They'll be just fine, but we put him in charge. Now everybody sees that there's a path for me here. There's an ending for me here. I can excel here. I don't have to go look for a job somewhere else. I'm gonna stick it out. I'm gonna stay here. Now we'll take a video like that. We'll play it on Facebook, social media, to kind of show who our people are, who our team members are. What do you think Steven's gonna do with that video? Steven's gonna share it to all of his friends. His family, they're gonna be proud of him. His kids are proud of him. But also, who do you think is gonna see that? Other roofers. And they just come in droves. Now, Steven's a great guy, so he's gonna bring you great employees. We focus on that all the time. Great employees bring other great employees. And so that's what Steven's done for us. We've got some other ones. We got another guy named Fernando, just an all-star guy. We're actually starting another branch in a different area, and he's gonna run that area because he has to have opportunity for growth. They're not just roofers. So when you look at Fernando, you can tell that guy's an exceptional guy. Fernando started by cleaning the ground, worked his way up to being a crew leader, worked his way up to being a project manager. He can do anything. He's a phenomenal guy. We want more guys like that. So what we're going to do is we run that on social media. We run that on Instagram. We put it out there. He's proud of it, and we want more guys like Fernando. So there's a path, and they all know that there's a path, but we also do a lot of stuff with the family, like with Fernando's family. We're all together in the end doing this path. But I want to talk to you one more thing too that makes us really unique is equipment. So when you look at roofing companies, typically they're all 1099 and then you just show up, they do the job. With us being W-2, they're in our own equipment, and then we have awesome equipment too that makes their job easier. Has anybody ever seen an equipter in here? Does anybody have one? Okay, you're missing out if you don't have one. So one of the things that's changed our company is the equipters, but we bought the equipters to do more work, to actually produce more, to solve a problem because we had a lot of customers and we need to do more jobs. But it did the opposite. It brought us more people. They wanted to work for us because we had better equipment that made their life easier. So if you're on the street putting a roof on and my guys show up and they're able to shove it off in this equipter and go dump it and get right back and then they're gone at the end of the day and you're still working, who are you going to want to work for? You're going to want to work for the company that cares about you, that cares about your labor, cares about you being able to go home and have some extra energy at the end of the day to play with your kids. This equipment, I can't put it enough on how important equipment is in roofing, especially if your competitors aren't doing it. So in our marketplace, we are winning when it comes to equipment. We can do another 30 squares a week per team because of the equipter. But it brings us better people at the end of the day. So a lot of times with our guys, we might not pay as much as our competitors, but we can do more work than our competitors. So our guys will make more money at the end of the week than they will anywhere else that they're working. But they feel appreciated. They feel special, like, oh, we have an equipter. It makes them feel good. Same thing with, we have our own CNC machines, so we make our own metal. And I used to do a lot of that work myself. But what I learned is if you let those guys do it, the roof becomes like artwork. If they can draw something, put it on your house, they're really, really proud of it, they're going to want to work for you. So if you have the equipment that shows that you have a future, they're going to want to work for you. So same thing with the metal machine. They love having our own equipment that we don't have to rely on other people. They love to run it. They love to push the buttons. They love to show their family. They love to show the competitors of ours, like, oh, well, we have our own equipment. I can't tell you how much equipment can transform your people because they trust in you. They know you're investing back into the company, which means there's a future for them. So it just brings them more where they can design the job more. So like at night, I get pictures all the time from the employees showing me like, hey, here's what we designed. What do you think? How cool is that? And that's what you want. They're inspired to go to work every day because they're going to do something unique. They have an opportunity here. Same thing, you can see everybody's got uniforms, hats. I mean, we even provide the cougar paws. Has anybody seen the cougar paws? So guys love that. They think that you care about them, or they realize that you care. Not that you don't, but the cougar calls make it so much safer for them, and they feel like they're part of a team because you're providing that for them. So basically, we just branded everything like NASCAR. We didn't even know we were doing it until the end, and we have about 5 or 6 sales guys. That's it. We're going to sell 30 million this year because we're selling the jobs while we're doing the job. We're selling the whole street. These guys are where we put our resources in. And they realize it, they feel it. But when they're on the street and they do one house, we'll do the whole street because it's different. It's different. You can tell that it's more professional because of the people, the equipment. And so we only need to show up to get a signature half the time. So most of our sales guys, when we start a sales guy, they close about 30% right off the bat. And then when they become established and they get into it, they'll sell about 55%. That's the sales ratio of our sales guys. But they believe in this process too. They are part of this process. They believe in these guys. So it's very easy to sell. We build vans, and we have them built where you can hold 10 people per van. So they can all show up to the job site as a team. They're a team, and they show up together. So you don't have 10 vehicles on the street, no names, no branding on it. So when we pull up, they all come out of one van. So the sprinters and the transits, those work really well for us, and we build it out where all their tools are in the back. And it really brings that team effort to it, like it makes them feel as a team, and that's what NASCAR is like. If you ever see the haulers, they're all wrapped, they pull in, and we all go to work. So that's very similar. Has anybody else got any questions about W-2s or anything like that? So a lot of times in the industry, they'll tell you like you can't afford the workers' comp. So the biggest part about that is your mod rates. You want to keep your injuries as low as you can. If you got a good mod rate, you're going to have a pretty cheap workers' comp, more than you would think. But we've managed to do this and have a really high net margin on these. So I feel like it's doable, but it's actually making yourself a team. They feel like a team. Everything's branded. Everything is like they're proud of. If I on the weekends, if I run into my guys, they all have the hats or the shirts. Like they have hats and shirts that they wear outside of work, and they're proud of it. As a matter of fact, we had an issue at one time where competitors, guys, are showing up on Saturdays. They want to talk to me about a job, and they're already wearing our brand. I'm like, you don't even work for me. Where did you get that from? They're proud of it. They love it. They love to be a part of something, even though they're not. They're still wearing it. Go ahead.
So how do you, if you don't mind me asking, how do you compensate those W-2 employees? Is it production based? Is it hourly?
That's a great question. So me and Adam Sand are working on that because we have something unique. So what we do is we combine hourly rate with squares. And the reason that we do that is because the state of Florida is really stringent. There's a lot of laws that people don't know about in the state of Florida. You can't pay a guy over 40 hours without getting in trouble, even if he is performance-based pay. So we combine both of them together, and we have a system that just pops a number out at the end of the week. So there's hardly any input. You just put in the job, the squares, and it figures out the pay at the end of the week. So the key to that is don't leave the job. It's going to quit raining, I promise. And they're like, well, who's going to pay me for this time I'm sitting here? Like, I'm not turning squares. And, you know, everybody deal with that? Like, I'm not sitting here. Well, they are. They're getting paid per hour if they're sitting there. So they're paid per hour the whole day plus per square, and it combines to a number. And then we can see what that rate is every week. So whether it's $50 square, $100 square, we can come up with a number and we know where we're at compared to our competitors. But when you put them by the hour, they feel like they're being paid all the time. It's not always about performance. So, but most of these guys, they'll turn 100 squares a week with a competitor. With us, they'll turn 160 squares a week because we're all running to help them do their task. We're there with the trailers, with the equipters. How can we help you? We bring them lunch. You know, they have a record week. We bring them lunch. The project managers all have credit cards for the gas station racetrack, and they bring them Gatorades. Like, we care about them. I mean, the reason I think I care so much is I've done it. I've been on the roof. I put the shingles on. I know the labor that's involved in it, so we actually really care about them. So just little things like that. Here's our team. We won Roofing Company of the Year. I don't know if anybody has seen Dimitri, the roofing process. So there was 2 winners this year. It was us and Monarch Roofing, and we brought some of our team with us to that event in Orlando. Another thing that a lot of people forget about, Google reviews. I know everybody talks about it, but you want to bring great people to you, Google reviews. So I think we're almost to 600 5-star reviews right now. So if you run a roofing company or you're a subcontractor and you're looking for a place to work, and you type in roofing, we're going to pop up pretty quick, pretty fast. Like, we're going to be one of the ones on the top of it, but they're going to look at your reviews. I want to work for this company. They got great reviews. So I don't think you can underestimate what Google can do for you on your 5-star reviews. They're huge, huge. So I get calls all the time. Like, I'm a roofing crew looking for a job. So if I have a subcontracting crew, we'll bring them in and bring them in-house. If I have one person come to me, then we have teams that we'll add people to. So we have 2 setups. We have whole crews and then individuals. And typically, we hire almost everybody comes in, we filter them through, find out what their talent is, and then we'll move them from there. If they're slow, but they're really good at what they do, we move them to the repair division, and they excel in the repair division. We have about 28 guys in the repair division, and that brings us a ton of work. So I remember back in the day when I was doing repairs, I didn't think it was profitable. I thought it was a waste of time. It was very difficult. But now today, that brings us a lot of our work because the repair guys, they're bringing the equipters with them. So they have 3 jobs in that equipter. They pick it up, put it up to the roof, and they can do 3 different jobs. They're not going up and down the ladder. But what happens next? They got the branding, everything's wrapped, the neighbor sees it, and now we'll do 5 houses on that street that are going to get re-roofed. So everything is about branding all the way from the repairs. You cannot neglect your repair guys. They're probably one of your biggest marketing team that you're going to have, more than the inside marketing. The repair division, you can use that as marketing. But you got to make sure those guys believe in what you're doing because they got to do their job right or you're not going to get any work. If they can go there, do the repair, and it doesn't leak, you've got a customer for life now because no one else could solve that problem, but you're going to get a ton of re-roofs after that because people see that. They recognize that, the logo, the branding, stuff like that. Anybody got any questions? Go ahead.
Have you done anything different to give them comfort in the moment to get lunch or go to a restaurant, something like that?
Have I done anything to get them lunch?
Comfort, like they still eating in the grass. Sometimes.
Yeah. So a lot of them go to the van. You got to be careful of that. But what we're working on now is actually awnings that come out from the van. They're just remote. You pull them out. They can sit there under the van and have some shade. Like anything that we could think of to make their job easier. We do have the pop-up tents for them that they can pop up. But we want to try to keep the job site as clean as we can. So we're careful about that. But the awnings, we're starting to look into how can we put awnings on the vans that pull out so they can have their own little area. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a big part of it. I mean, one of the best things about it, if you want to see real teamwork, you can look at our, like you can see we're doing some training there. So we'll do videos on the training and then we'll post it on Facebook. Now people don't really care as much about the product, but they can start to see the team effort and everybody wants to be part of a team. So then here you are, you're going to get customers and you're going to get employees all at the same time. You can have great marketing and bring in a ton of customers. But if you don't have the employees to do it, it does you no good. So it's just a big difference from 10 years ago, 8 guys and probably 2 talented guys. Now everybody on the crew is talented. Everybody wants to work for us, especially with the community events. We bring in a ton of people from the community events. We just did a soapbox derby last weekend. So the soapbox derby was huge for us. You know, people were there, hey, I want to work for you guys. This is cool. We even had one of our employees was driving the soapbox car and we won. And I think that's where I messed up. I was like, no matter what happens, as long as we win, that's what we're looking for. And they're like, what about safety? So he did win. He rolled it a couple times, but we won. But so that's all over Facebook. That's all over our area. Everybody's talking about the soapbox derby. So we do stuff like that. One of the next things too is our guys love fast cars. I don't know if you guys have seen some of your roofers that come in with all these sports cars and stuff like that. That's how you can tell if you're paying them too much. But what we started doing was we do racing. So demolition derby, stuff like that. We'll wrap the cars. We'll bring the guys. We have a lot of events. We do go-kart racing. So here's our repair division. We took a Friday off of work, still paid the guys, and we took them go-kart racing for the day. And so it was really fun. The laughter, the excitement, like they loved it. And then we ran videos. So some of the guys brought their family. We had lunch, we had food, all kinds of stuff. And it just goes so far to pay attention and have fun outside of work. And when we were in NASCAR, we did the same thing. We were always a team. Whether we're at the track, restaurant, we were a team all the time. And so we kind of brought that aspect to there. The go-kart racing was a big one. I was always surprised by the bowling. The bowling was a big one. But look at that. So we'll post that on Facebook, Instagram, social media, and it'll go like wildfire because he's going to post it to his family, friends, everybody. And then a lot of his friends are roofers, and now they're all going to be like, hey, I want to come work for you. So it's not always about money. They'll always come in and act like it's about money, but it's somewhere where they belong. They want to belong somewhere. So we found that that's worked really well. So each division is going to have different things. Your office staff, there's days that they go paddle boarding together. Birthday parties are always big. That's our bowling. So a lot of times people forget about like a simple birthday party or a birthday. So everybody has a birthday, they get a card at Eustace Roofing. If you're putting the roof on, you get a card. If you work in the office, you get a card. But they'll decorate your office, and you sound so simple. But I think I really realized it one day when I came in and my office was decorated. It made me feel like appreciated. So we do those little details make a huge difference, especially when it comes to office staff. So you can see this is part of our office staff bowling one day. So just having fun together is you know, roofing's hard enough to bring together as a team. Has anybody got any questions about that? Go ahead.
So I love everything that you've done. As a smaller company, what are some things that you did at the beginning that aren't as lucrative, as expensive, or something that you can build a smaller team to help that grow from the beginning stage?
That's a great question. So at the beginning,
Renting out a bowling alley is not possible for me.
yeah, so here's what you could do. There'll be events in your town where they're going to have a special event, a fundraiser, and you got to build your own team to go bowling. We would do stuff like that. You know, little things like that. We would always take a key thing that this seems stupid, but if you got a guy that's moving on, he's going to go do something different, we'll go have lunch with him and the team that day. So the guy's leaving the company, like you don't have to be like, oh, well, you're leaving, I don't care no more. But that's one of the most important times because the other guys are watching what you do. So when we have a guy that's leaving, we go out to lunch that day with the whole team that he's been working with, and we give him lunch. And I got now where I'll give him like a little wrapped van so he can put it and have remember, you know, from where he was at, you know, he puts it on a shelf. But this is when we talk about branding, this is our first wrap that we did. And so that was great at the time, but what we realized that over time it was too much going on. So we had about 20 vehicles wrapped like that, and we decided one day to change it because we didn't think it was as effective. It wasn't really like young, creative look to it. So we changed it, and you can start to see our logos now. And I'm gonna tell you, that made a huge difference. People want to be a part of a brand. And so same thing here, we're celebrating, like we do a lot of parades. Well, that's another thing to your question, like parades. We do that together. They'll bring the wife, the kids, all that stuff. Like they all get involved, and you don't have to pay anything to do a parade. But it's unique when you're there with your employees, when you're not working, doing something like that. You kind of bond, you get to meet their kids. You know, like I got one roofer that his daughter's becoming a doctor. Well, I got to meet the daughter, kind of hear the story outside of work. You know, like it's different. And we talk about that on Facebook. Like, hey, meet Jose. His daughter's going to become a doctor. You know, and people love that. They just eat that up. So any kind of events in your city, at first it's hard because every weekend you're doing something if you're the owner, like you're talking about if it's small. But over time, as you gain and you get employees, then you can put somebody in charge of that, and that's what we do. So I'm not at every event as much anymore because I have somebody that does that, but I like to do it because it's fun for me and my family also. But little events, parades, they were big ones for us. So we'll put the kids in there, throw candy out. Another key thing too is like at our Christmas parties, because we have all the roofers there, a lot of the prizes are geared towards the family. So like for the little kids, like the young girls, purses and makeup, and for the boys, there's like monster trucks and stuff like that. You know, then we have some stuff for like flat screen TVs and stuff. And so we get everybody involved, and they all have tickets, and then we work through there to win prizes, and it's amazing. But you know, now we're getting 400 people to our Christmas party, but it's a great way to connect outside of work. So, you know, and it's a chance for them to meet our family, understand that we're all people. We're not just business owners, we're people just like they are. All right, so I think my time's up unless anybody's got any questions before I leave. That's it. All right, thanks guys.